Hi friends, it's Cole of Rosie Cole Reads, and today I'm going to be doing a tarot tag that is ancient in tarot tube years. Actually it's like maybe just 2 years old, but I don't know how much time that is in tarot tube years. It's the Coffeehouse Decks by Amidst the Grey, and I remember I think seeing videos about this the end of 2022. I know I made my own version back when I was just doing like a video diary for myself, and I don't remember what I picked at the time. So it'll be kind of interesting to reference back to that at some point. But I wanted to do the tag. Um, I have everything kind of written out on Chicken Scratch here. So I guess I'll say what all the prompts are at the outset, and then when I do the decks. So there are 12 decks altogether, I think, maybe 13. I think there's 12. Hopefully there's 12 because I only have 12 decks here. So, okay, anyway, I mean, with me that I chose. Okay, so the first one is the espresso shot, which is strong, punchy, and gets straight to the point. The next one is the drip coffee, which is simple, accessible, and gets the job done. The pour over is a deck that you take your time with but is worth the effort. The latte is a deck that is well received and highly palatable. The Cappuccino is a deck that is classic, sophisticated, and maybe a bit fussy. The Mocha is rich, indulgent, and a bit extra. The Cortado is balanced and objective. The Chai Latte is warm, cozy, and nurturing. The Matcha Latte is an acquired taste, potentially unconventional. The Hot Chocolate speaks is a deck that speaks to a younger version of yourself. The Italian Soda is a deck that is fun, low key, and not overly serious. And then the Herbal Tea is a deck that takes things down a notch and helps you unwind. And so that's Amidst the Grey. Um, and so let's see. So I'm going to start with the espresso shot. And let's see. This is actually one of my very first decks. So it's the Lumina Tarot by Inner Hue. Now I got this deck in 2015. I think that's what, yes, 2015. So, I got this deck in 2015. I think it had two different runs. It's by Inner Hue, also known as Lauren Aletta. Oh my gosh, excuse all the cat hair. And the illustrations, I believe, are by Tegan Swiney. I don't have the book with me, but I'll put that in the. I almost said show notes. This is not a podcast. Oh, reversals. So with this deck, I got it in 2015 and I didn't start using it until 2019. Oh my gosh, here we have the Five of Pentacles. What am I doing? Oh my gosh. Five of Pentacles here. What am I doing? Okay. All right. Let's get it together. Um, like I can't talk and flip at the same time. How do you all do this? Okay. I got this deck in 2015, didn't actually start using it until about 2019, and because it was strong, punchy, and get straight to the point, and I was like, ouch, that's spiky, that hurts. Also, I've had this up on the screen for a bit. This is one of my favorite. So I call the Ten of Swords the bane of my existence, but this I feel like gets to the point of the Ten of Swords like so precisely. Um, yeah, and I don't want to have this video be too long, but I love this deck, but I wasn't ready for what she had to say. She's kind of like the bossy older sister, the eldest child, like, which is a weird thing to say because I'm an eldest child, so I totally understand what it's like to be an eldest child. Um, anyway, so oh, these reversals are throwing me off. It's a deck that always seems to provide me with more information than I expect. I guess at this point with this deck, that's not the case. Like, I mean, it is the case. I know to expect more information with this deck. If there's a deck, if I'm doing a reading for someone and I feel like there may be more unseen, um, kind of vibes below the surface, not necessarily from that they're hiding from me, that my client is hiding from me, but something that maybe is unknown to them. I feel like this deck really brings that out. Um, this is a similar art style to the Wild Unknown, which was like my first deck this time around, in 2013 when I started reading tarot again. And it's it's basically a very blunt deck, but it's well intended. It's like it's not cruel or anything like that. It's not like sharp at for the sake of being sharp. It's because the deck cares about you so much. It's like I guess that kind of older sibling energy of like oh my, I love this judgment card so much. Even though I don't necessarily, I know that a modern correspondence of this card is Pluto, and that's why this glyph is here. I don't necessarily use that correspondence myself with Judgment, but I think this is just such a beautiful, um, I don't know, it's like this approaching this event horizon or something. I don't know. I just really like this deck. Um, but there are more things to it than I guess, yeah, so it's a little bit like you have to catch up to the deck a little bit. So the deck is a few steps ahead of you, and you kind of need that um I guess espresso shot surge to kind of get you on the same level as the deck. Not in a manner of hierarchy, but in a sense of just understanding what the deck is trying to say. Um I love this card. This card actually, I remember I used this card for like a vision board related to some tarot activity I was doing, and it was like, what court card do you want to be? And I was like, I want to be the Queen of Swords. And this actually reminds me of one of my favorite musicians. Her name's Juliana Hatfield. Um, she's fantastic. It like the face kind of looks like her, but she's got dark hair. But anyway, she's totally like a cool badass Queen of Swords. Love this high priestess, this crone energy of this reflective. Anyway, I'm talking too much about each deck. I hope I don't have to put this into two parts. But anyway, so this is what I would choose for the espresso shot. It doesn't beat around the bush. It kind of tells you, it kind of unlocks what you sort of already know you need to do or need to examine, and just is like, yeah, you can do it, and you can't avoid this, and um get to it, you know, um with love. Anyway, okay, so that's the espresso shot. So the next one is the drip coffee, a deck that is simple, accessible, and gets the job done. And for this one I chose the Eighth House Tarot by Sara Calvarese of the Eighth House. um this is the second edition. I think there were three altogether. um There is, I think the latest one, I don't know if it's still in print, but the latest one, oh, this is what I pulled last time. Oh, this is cool. Okay. I do this. I'll be like, oh, I want to remember. I always take pictures of what I pull, but okay, so I guess I pulled the Six of Cups, the Two of Cups, the Ten of Cups. What? Wait, did I talk about this already? I feel like I had this moment where I was doing this on camera. Unless I have like crazy deja vu. Three of Cups and the Hanged One. Okay. I might have looked at this in my icebreaker video that I made that I never put up, I think. Okay, so this is the Eighth House Tarot. Um, all right. This is the back. So, simple, accessible, gets the job done. I feel like for people who are also astrologically inclined, it has the decans on it. Um, so Six of Cups would be Sun in Scorpio. Um, and it's just this kind of, right, I'm doing it again. I'm doing it again. I'm getting all confused. Okay. All right. All right. This is not, I'm all discombobulated. Okay. And I actually had coffee before I made this. It's like 9 at night, and I'm a weirdo who can drink coffee late at night. Okay. I feel like it kind of strips away some of the pomp and circumstance of tarot sometimes, or that some decks can be that incorporate these decans. Um, and I feel like it's a collage deck that I feel like has that fine line of not being too much. I tend to like collage decks, but sometimes can get overwhelmed with like there's so many things in it, and that'll be another deck that's in this video. So yeah, it's a really interesting way to it feels very concise. And that's what I think about accessible, and it gets the job done when it's kind of like um I want to know, or I want more information about what to like where to go in a place that I don't kind of have to do a lot of setup. I feel like that the way I said it doesn't really make sense or isn't really the best way to um speak to what I mean, but I like that yeah, I feel like it provides a good flow of images and a good sense of that combined with the information that feels very accessible and reliable. Yeah. I don't know if I haven't seen too many. Okay, so I was trying to look for the majors. So it actually kind of switches. So these and these like Dire Maker labels for the minors, those Dire Maker labels are on the like say the title, but then here it's actually the ugh, the label maker looks like or the part that looks like the label maker is the astrological correspondence. Wow, that took me a long time to say. Okay, so anyway, this is my drip coffee. Okay. Um, oh, love this card. Okay, so that's the eighth house tarot, and I was pretty lucky because they had this is like unrelated story time, but um I really wanted this specific version, and by the time I found it, it was sold out, but when they were moving to their physical shop, they found three more and put them up. And they announced when they were going to put them up, so it's just kind of like a and they didn't mark them up a lot like they probably could have. Um okay. So the next one is the pour over, which is a deck that you take your time, a little extra time with, but is worth the effort. And for this one, I chose the Tree Spirit Tarot, and this is something that I'm still learning. This is a deck that I'm still getting to know. And I am taking my time with it, and it is worth the effort. So I'm actually using this bag by Jessie J, I think her name is, who made the, or Jessie May, oh my gosh, who did the Tarot Erotique. So I'm using her bag, but I put the Tree Spirit Tarot in here. And this is by Laural Virtue's Wauters. And I keep a little petrified wood and an acorn, a Mookieite acorn in here. This is the book that so this deck is print on demand. The book you can get on Amazon, I think. That's how I got it. Um, I'm only on the chariot, so I'm taking a very slow time with it. Um, anyway, so but all right, now how did I do this? Okay, there we go. We put in the middle, we put oh, I got three tens right here. Okay. So for me, I'm someone that has a lot to learn about different trees. Oh, these are in order kind of. Okay. Are they? No. All right. I love this deck because it's one that forces me to take my time. I feel that I tend to be someone who wants to rush to get to know a deck really quickly. I get really excited and I'm like, let me, know this deck inside out, all the nooks and crannies. And this deck actually says like, slow your roll, like in a loving, beautiful way. And is like, let yourself receive rather than seek. Um, it's really a lesson in patience. And I've had this deck for about a year and a half now. No, it's 20. I probably got it at the beginning of 2023 after I think seeing it on Meg Rose Honey Rituals channel and Marlena Teresa's tarot channel. Um, but I really, and I didn't know if I'd be able to use this deck because um, I'm someone who kind of relies visually on like the scenes that are in a card to read, or that's what I feel most comfortable with. And that's why like the Rider-Waite-Smith I feel is always like the one that I kind of safety net fall into. But I love when a deck can kind of push me out of my comfort zone and really prompt me to um, receive information in a different way than I'm necessarily used to when I'm working with tarot. So the evergreens are wands, the hardwoods are swords, or air rather, and then the fruit trees are um, cups. Yeah, and then the nuts are earth. Oh my goodness. And yeah, I love this so much. Okay. Yeah, but this is a deck that I think is best um kind of taken sips of. So anyway, I love it. And it's one of my favorites. Okay. So the next one is the Latte, which is a deck that is well received and highly palatable. And I feel like that's, quite subjective, but um for some reason I was just drawn to this particular one for this one. So let me grab it. So I don't usually keep it in this bag. I just have a bigger bag with the design their design on it. But it's with a couple of their other decks. So this is the Lioness Oracle Tarot by Alejandra Luisa Leon. And I first saw this deck, I think, when I was taking a class with Sara Faith Gottesdiener, who does the Moonbeaming podcast and the Many Moons planners. Okay, let me set up my cards so I know what's going on here. Okay. And it's the book that comes with. I think she has this I'm trying to think. I don't think this is out of print, but I know she's, oh my gosh, I have like, oh, it had something where the cards got stuck together. You can't really oh yeah, you can't see that. Okay. Oh, there's a few of them. It was the way I stored them. They didn't come like that. It was something ridiculous that I did. So, okay. So it's a collage deck, and I think it's the main deck that Sara Faith Gottesdiener uses when she reads, and she was one of my first tarot teachers that I sought out. Um, I was like, okay, what is this deck right now? Um, I feel like even if I guess what I was thinking about with this being the latte, like it's palatable in that there's this lushness about it. Um, but there's also this, this isn't a deck that I use a lot, but it's one that I really respect, if that makes sense. Not that they're like decks that I disrespect, but it's like, wow, even if I don't really use it um as much as I'd like to, I can feel where it's going. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's different than other decks that I have that are like, oh, I can't really use this deck as much, but I'm glad I have it in my collection. It kind of goes beyond that. It's not like about having it um in a collection. It's something about like knowing that it's there when you want it, which I guess you can say is about any deck. This is probably my favorite card, the Knight of Cups. Um, Knight of Cups. So Um, yeah, what am I saying? I mean, it's very stunning visually. Like, I mean, I always think of when I see this picture, I think of the creator of the deck. Um, I almost like see her in this face of this lioness. Um, yeah, it's just really it's really beautiful. And I also I actually went to see if this font like existed. I think she invented it. Because I can't find it anywhere. I was like I put on like what the font and like fonts.com. I think this is like her handwriting and she turned it into um um yeah, which is amazing. Okay. But yeah, I really like this deck. I think sometimes with collage when there is when it's like this, I don't know exactly what that style is. There's this kind of removedness that I have a difficult time with at times, but not with this deck. It's just like I'm not describing it well. Like I'm like, why is this like it's a deck that I feel has a real presence and you can feel everything that's gone into the creation of it. And I guess it's like I feel a little bit like, oh, I don't use this as much. Like I'm kind of missing out. But in a way that's like I know it'll be there when I do want to use it. Which doesn't make any sense because like I mean, it doesn't make any sense for me assigning it to the latte because I feel like I guess it does because it is highly palatable in my opinion. I don't know. I don't I mean to come off as like defensive, like, oh, why did I choose this one? But no, I think that I've seen this response of people to this deck and when Alejandra Luisa Leon like posts, um, people really love this deck. Like the respect and love for it is very high. Also, oh my gosh, kittens. So, yeah, that's my latte deck. Uh, maybe I should keep it in. This is a nice deck bag. Like, I got this with a set of 3 bagus, so okay. All right. Now this next one is the Cappuccino, which is a deck that is classic, sophisticated, and maybe a bit fussy. Um, I had a little bit of a hard time with this one actually. I kind of went back and forth. Um, so I was like, if something is like I could think of 3 different decks. I'm like, oh, okay, a deck that is classic, a deck that is sophisticated, a deck that is fussy. But it was hard to figure one that was all of them. But I ultimately decided to go with the Tarot de Paris by J. Philip Thomas. Not so much the fussiness, but um, it's classic, sophisticated, but there's a little further to go, I guess. But to me, that was different than the next one, which is the extra. So, um, I actually got this in. Oh, I actually got I bought this from Coleman Stevenson actually. Um, yeah, she had put some decks up that she wasn't using in her Etsy shop. Um, and she had like the kit that came with like the silk scarf of the Notre Dame rose window. And this is like legit silk. Um, okay, so it's not, I'm not presenting it well at all. Oh my gosh. Okay. So it's all folded because I'm too afraid to use it. Like I think the idea was that you wrap the deck in it, and I was like, oh my gosh, no, that's gonna ruin the scarf. Um, but yeah, I think yeah, I got a good deal on it, and I was like, wow, this is the price I paid was probably worth like the scarf by itself, not nevertheless the deck. Um, okay, so this one is an order. Did I put all the 6? Oh no, I just put all the okay. So this deck was a majors only deck, I think, made in the 80s, and then the guy expanded it in the early 2000s. Um, and it comes with this book, which I'm still working through. I think I'm on my second reread of it, but Um, anyway, I said that it was classic. It feels that sophisticated. It feels sophisticated. Um, Not just because it's Paris, but because, all right, let's see, get this over here. Into my usual because it's in order. There's that classic imagery that I feel relates both um, the Rider-Waite-Smith and some of the Thoth in there. But I feel like the name changes are maybe that kind of fussy part. If I were to say that it's fussy, the Empress is nature, the Emperor is order, uh, the Hierophant is the awakening, and so it has this bit where it does have this classic symbolism across different, this there's it's like you each of these I could see as a painting in a museum, and it's worldly in that, as I turn to the Sphinx, um, it's worldly in that it's not just Paris. I mean, a lot of it is, but it's like it kind of expands the world of tarot within that, I don't know, Parisian symbolism. Does that make sense? But it doesn't feel like, I feel like there's some decks that are location based where you can sort of get locked into the place of where it is, so it's hard to relate to other areas or to relate outside of the theme, but I don't feel that that's the case with this deck. Also, this is one of my favorite moon cards. This is the rose window, and then these two gargoyles exchanging like moon messages. What's going on there? Yeah, I mean, it's really sick. And I think too, um the guy who created it had a difficult time bringing it forth. I think first he describes it in the book too, and he talks about the triumphal way in Paris and how he um, kind of lines up the cards along it around the majors and everything like that. So, like here, um, so there's that fussiness, but I think because he had um, so I think he wanted to make a complete deck at the time, but he didn't have the funds to do that or to print it out, to print it, to get it printed, to print it out, to get it printed. And then he had other things going on in his life, and so he, um, continued on with it. And then he was approached by, I suppose, this is St. Martin's Press who did the book, and like in the late 90s, and said, hey, would you want to finish, would you want to make a complete deck? And he was able to do that. And so thinking of the time spent between that, even though he wasn't actively working on the deck, but to think of that, the creation process of this deck was like interrupted, so to speak. um and yeah, so the classic aspect, I feel like it kind of has the suits are all like their element, um but it feels like sophisticated in its scope. I love this card too. And I guess I'm glad that some of these are out of order and other ones are in order, because I don't want to show the same cards over and over. But yeah. So, all right. Um, yeah, so the earth suit is matter. Um, okay. Right, so that's the Tarot de Paris by J. Philip Thomas. And it's my Cappuccino deck. All right. So the next one is, this is a newer deck to me, so I don't know if it would have been better to include a deck that I have used more, but this one is the Mocha, a deck that is rich, indulgent, and a bit extra. And I chose the Shakespeare Tarot by what's his name? Chris Leach of Welkin Tarot. He also made the Odyssean Tarot. Um, this this book is amazing. I mean, it's just yeah. Anyway, so this is the extra part. um, so let me just put that here for a moment. I love this deck because it is just one that I'm really gonna have to study, I think. It's indulgent in the way that it so yeah, how am I gonna do this now? Because these are all like landscape. Oh, no, what do I do? So this is the Fool. Um, and I mean the back is like a folio. So the backs are like that, and that's just so rich and indulgent. And the font is probably the extra part as well. It's like the ones where the S's look like F's. Um, yeah, just it's gonna require extra knowledge. And it's all like in this book. He goes through each each card, the character that it's referencing. Um, sorry, I'm like doing this on my phone camera, but looking at it on my computer, and I'm like, oh, moving mirrors and stuff. My movements are mirrored. The Hierophant is William Shakespeare himself, so I think that's awesome. Um, but yeah, I am not that familiar with Shakespeare. It's probably sad to say. I do actually have the to be or not to be speech from Hamlet completely memorized. I had to memorize it in 11th grade for Brit Lit as an extra credit assignment, and we had to recite it in front of the class. I was like, I went through all this work to memorize this, so I'm gonna retain that information. Um, that is fun. Speaking of to be or not to be, I'm not gonna say it right now. I won't put you all through that. Um, here's death. Yeah, so this isn't one to read um intuitively or willy-nilly. Not that it can't be, but I personally can't. Um, yeah. This is also I love this is so gorgeous. Moon cards are really giving now. Um, yeah. So there's extra so this could also, I guess, have been one that's like another one that you take your time with. So it would have been a pour over deck, but I feel like the indulgence of, he says in the book, like, yeah, the language used is very, um, almost like um, kind of stubborn and still like movable, but it's kind of obstinate in its use. Um, like it would have been more accessible to like change it up a little bit, but it's just like, well, no, it's me, it's Shakespeare, so it's just I don't know. Okay, so that was my Mocha deck, rich, indulgent, and a bit extra. Okay, so now I have to switch my bag real quick. So, okay. So the next one is the Cortado, which is a deck that is balanced and objective. And I chose the Pink Tiger Tarot. This is actually created by, oh, what's her name? I should know this. Jen. Okay, I'm gonna put it in. She actually lives in my town. She's yeah, from Massachusetts, and that's not my town, but in the state of Massachusetts. Okay, this bag is okay. Um, I think her IG, her Instagram is Pink Tiger Apothecary. I'm gonna put that all that in the description. So it's a collage deck, and okay, I can kind of. Oh, these are in order too. Okay, so let me do. What am I doing? I haven't shown some pentacles. Let's put some. Oh yeah, let's start with the swords. Okay. All right. So it's a collage deck, and um, but it's very it's one that's concise, but um, it's not too, it's just right. It's kind of like a Goldilocks deck of it's not too much darkness, it's not too much light. It's just that right amount. Oh, sorry, nudity. It's also very referential. You can see like there's some pop culture references. So there's that, but there's also these um these symbols that are not so pop culture-y. Um, I love this card. This is very interesting. It's like a couple wearing kimonos, but instead of their heads, it's like these apples. Um, and you almost can't see the difference between one person and the next. Uh, Chariot, I mean, yeah. But it's very, yeah, I guess concise. It's just like, and I guess objective, I mean, objective is like not, it's not super attached, but it's not distant, I guess. And I love that the Wheel of Fortune is a record. Um, Rolling Stones, by the way. Yeah, I really love that. And I'm showing all the swords. See, I feel like it's very, it's accessible too. This one could say it's kind of pip, like a pip deck, but like I love the Six of Coins. It's Dolly Parton, and there are those penny machines that would stretch the penny out. Um, I mean, she's got a kitten with her. You know, it's more warm than cool, but it's not so warm that you can't see the other side of what it's not so like tunnel vision, I suppose is what I'm getting at. Temperance, the tea party. I love that the devil is like Chanel jewelry. I mean, just this and this. I don't know about the spiked collar. That may not be Chanel, but the okay. Um, love this star. Yeah, yeah, really beautiful. Um, I mean the 10 of Pentacles, which can get kind of like I feel like I can get pressured by that card because it's like, oh, legacy, what lasts when you're gone, and it's just like, or it can be like a family of opossums, you know. Take your pick. Okay, these are all swords. I'm just trying to. I do love the Seven of Cups. Um, like the visual of it, even though I don't necessarily like when I pull it, I'm like, okay, but rainbow hands for the Ten of Cups. Um, yeah, I just feel like it's a well balanced and objective deck. Okay, so that's the Pink Tiger Tarot. I'm gonna like wrestle it into this bag because I'm already like taking a lot of time, but I have to get it in some kind of. All right. Okay, we're gonna deal with that later. Okay, So the next one is the chai latte, and this is one of my favorites right now. It's a deck that is warm, cozy, and nurturing. And that's the Morocco Animal and Food Tarot card deck. I think I first saw this on BB's Pure Red Velvet's channel. Um, this deck is um, serotonin in a box. It's serotonin in 78 cards, and then there's two extras. There's an extra Empress and an extra Chariot alternate. I mean, I feel like this time of the year I tend to like darker, heavier decks, but no, not this year. I need some comfort. Okay, so let me do my thing here. So these aren't in order, but it's like impossible to feel depressed when you're looking at the Five of Wands being a bunch of baby animals with cake pops, So it's like death is a black kitten riding on an animal cracker horse, um, heading towards a root beer float that's being shared. It's like, yeah, magician is this cute little dog. So in here, oh my gosh, this is my favorite card. This other one I'm going to show. So the swords are baguettes, the cups are like fruity drinks, the wands are cake pops, and the pentacles are donuts. So when I was going through this deck trying to like pick my favorite cards, I was like I couldn't stop looking at this one. So I love red pandas. And it was like this red panda is showing all her little coffee treats. And I had I was like, oh, I love this card. And then I was going through the deck to pull from it for the first time, and this one came out. I was like, yes, yes, I want all the coffee drinks, my little red panda friend. Um, but yeah, I mean, the Queen of Pentacles has all these donuts. Yeah. Um, so sweet. Little lamb chef. Um, but yeah, and I like I mean, I'm a sucker for these like cold stamping or these foil stamping things. It's not a requirement by any means, but it's like I can appreciate a good one. Look at this. This fox is making away with the baguettes. Sacre bleu. Okay. Um, and like the animals that are in the corners of the card are like animal crackers. Like, come on. How can you not? It does come with a little book, and it has notes for the majors and then just some of the minors. But I mean, does one need like, yeah. It's not like, oh man, I wish I had more information about this red panda and the coffee. It's like, no, you have all the information that you need. So yeah, this deck is a hug. Oh my gosh, this is not centered. But anyway, so here's the otter chariot. Yeah, so good. That's like harbor seal, or like, is that a harbor seal? No, it's just a baby seal. Okay, yeah, really good. So if I'm ever, feeling more bummed than usual, that's like, um, pulling from this one is just like a free Pez dispenser of happiness, and so I love that. So that's my chai latte deck. Okay. So the matcha latte is a deck that is an acquired taste and is unconventional. Um, so the first deck I thought of, and I don't even know if it's even gonna fit in the frame. I have it in this big ass bag that I got from TJ Maxx. It's the Drexiotos Tarot. Okay, so this this is a large deck. And let's see, where do I start? I don't want to like it's okay. So the idea of it being an acquired taste. I mean, at the outset, oh my gosh, mine are like bent. At the outset, okay, so there's a couple extra cards. Um, yeah, I mean, it's a really gorgeous deck, but there's a lot going on, and I really like the artist. So the artist is Greg Traw. Um, he's also like um a rock metal bassist. Like he's amazing. His Instagram is no chi hole, and I'm like not even pronouncing that right, I think. So yeah, so the kings are all 14s, so the courts are numbered. And I actually don't know at any given time like what card I'm looking at. I actually took a picture of them when they were in order. There's no guidebook or anything like that. Um and yeah, so like I'm like, I think this is the 5 of swords. Let me just double check. And then it's like it's either a sword or a wand. And so I had to like I have a reference picture for like what they all look like. Um and so it's more like the unconventional. I feel like looking at, I mean, all these pieces, all these pictures are like amazing pictures. All these cards are amazing examples of art, I think. It's just that it's I mentioned earlier when sometimes collage decks feel very overwhelming to me, and this is one of those. And I guess I don't think I've ever done a spread with this deck. I've probably done like single pulls or maybe two pulls. So this is the world card. Um, and I think this is the second Fool card. So there are two. Um, yeah. So this is the first Fool. Oh my gosh, this is not a deck that I want like a bent card. And then this is like the Fool at the end. Um, yeah. But this guy like he makes amazing pieces of art. He does a lot of commission work. Um, okay. Are all these upside down? So like, am I like turning all of them this way? Yeah, so this, uh, well, it's a page. I think it's the Page of Swords. So this is like the air glyph. There were a couple cards that had a different glyph than I was expecting. I can't remember. I don't necessarily know if it's a typo or not. I just, yeah. Oh, oh, this one's so cool. I think this one, oh, this is the every time I see this, I'm like, oh, is this the Hanged Man because it's the 12? But no, it's like the Prince of Cups. Um, that there's the Hanged Man. So it doesn't help that the numbers are their numerals for both of them. So yeah, this one's the Hanged one. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so this is definitely unconventional. Um, but I admire this guy's work and just some people I when I've shown it to some people, they're like, "Well, what is the guidebook?" I'm like, "Oh, there's no guidebook." And they were like, "What? Like, what do you mean there's no guidebook? We would make a deck this like um full and you wouldn't do a guidebook." And I'm like, "Well, I think it's kind of you can pick one sort of set of images and go with it." Um, but I don't know, I really like it. So, it's just also it's hard to do a spread with it because it's just such a huge deck. I mean, in comparison to like this is the Pink Tiger Tarot. Like it's yeah, this is a standard tarot card, so it's like, oh. Um yeah. So okay. It has like a really nice box. I have the box in storage, interestingly enough. But he does have some posts on Instagram that I think I printed them out or something that just are different notes on it. Um they do have like alchemical and kabbalistic um information associated with them, but yeah. So that's my matcha latte. Acquired taste, unconventional. Okay. The next one is the hot chocolate deck, which is a deck that speaks to a younger version of yourself. And I almost picked a deck that I actually used when I was younger, but I thought I'd just kind of expand the meaning of it for myself. Um, and so I chose the Tarot of a Moon Garden. Um, and so I didn't go with a deck that I had actually used in a previous time of my life, but I chose this because this deck is um, there's something really magical about it and very I want to like the word that's coming to me is naive, but not in a um I think just like the sense of wonderment. Now I can't remember if this deck as it is in this format is still in print. I know there's a borderless version that kind of well, obviously it chopped the borders off and made them longer, almost like bookmarks, and added some like purple to the backs, and I think the deck is gilded in purple as well in the new version. Um, but I really, yeah, there's this wonderment about this deck. There's this, but it's very contained. It's very well contained. It's almost like you're in a snow globe of your own world a little bit. So in that way, it feels very dreamlike or daydream-like is probably more the word that I'm looking for. Um, it's like if you're having a bad day at school and you're just kind of your teacher's going on about whatever and you're daydreaming about other things or um, it's kind of like where you retreat to, that's a comfort. And before it turns to a point of being like escapism. Like I feel like I guess, not to say that kids can't, fall victim to escapism, but I feel like there's a fine line or a certain age where it's just like, no, it's just your amazing imagination. It's like the Mr. Rogers, like, did you ever grow something in the garden of your mind kind of thing? This is one of my favorite quotes. Is also I love this Wheel of Fortune is a carousel. Hi. It makes me think of the one in Mary Poppins too, when it's like that. It's like the going jumping into the chalk portrait, the chalk drawing of Mary Poppins and living there for a little while. You miss being in there, but you know that you wouldn't give up the time you were in there for anything, and you know that you can't stay there all the time because it rains and your chalk will melt, wash away. Okay. Every time I turn it. Yeah. So, okay. So that's my hot chocolate deck. The Tarot of a Moon Garden. All right. Two more. And all right. So the next deck is the Italian Soda, a deck that is fun, low key, and not overly serious. And so for this one, I chose the Moon Baby Magic Tarot by Angela Mary Magic. I love this deck so much. I remember when I first got it in 2020, it was like the only deck that I used for a while. Oh, it is in order. Good. Or like, well, I'll have to. Anyway, so I thought of when I saw that it said the Italian soda, I thought of like all the different flavors, and this deck is so colorful. It's actually intended as a sort of flip book where the colors and the moon phases will, let's see if I can do it. Can't do it like, yeah. So, I mean, it's like all the colors of sodas. Um, it's super fun because, so there are keywords on this deck, and she also has reverse keywords. So also, I mean, the guide is like in a spiral form and it's got a song for upright and reversed. It's just like such a fantastic deck. Um I don't think it's in print anymore. Like I think she did like 3 runs of it, and this by Angela Mary Magic. Did I say that? I don't know if I said that. She has an amazing channel here on YouTube. And yeah, so each of the colors means different, has different themes. And then the moon phases have different themes, and you just kind of combine the two. But um, yeah, I love this deck so much. This is my yeah. You can kind of see the wear in it, um, just from how much I've used it. But I love this deck so much. I want to like edge it in something, but I can't decide, and it just looks so nice when it's played out like this that I don't want to mess with it. But and I was like, well, when I was thinking of this deck, I don't want to say not overly serious in a way that it's not a potent tool or anything, because it definitely is. It's got a lot of oomph to it, but it's very fun, I guess is what um oh, so much. I think that's for Cat Juniper. Oh, love it so much. Yeah, and it just I don't know. I just really love this deck, and I feel like I've said that about every deck that I put on here, but for it to be there's something about decks that like I love that she has songs for each one. I love that, and then she also has like a song for the reversal of it. I'm not necessarily someone who uses reversals a lot, despite like seeing so many reverse cards in my decks. Like when I pull if I like when I'm pulling a card, I already go into it knowing am I going to take reversals into account or not. So if I see a card that comes like this, I'm like, okay, so it's the star. Like I just turn it up, right? Um, yeah. So yeah, it's really beautiful, and it's a nice, relaxing use of it. Like it's just like, oh, when I want something fun that's gonna be a little bit different, have a different flavor, um, I guess yeah, soda. It's just and it's sweet. It's um, it makes me feel bubbly. Um, yeah, I think I passed one of my favorites. Art spell. I love this so much. Yeah. Um, oh yeah, so the wands are lasers. Um, the cups are oh yeah, so the cups so she has it in a different order. So the cups are at the end, the cups are waves. The earth is caves, or coins are caves rather. Like, that's so cool. That delicious blue kyanite in the middle. Those are records too. I would pull this card so this is probably the card that came out the most when I was using it. The Six of Pentacles, which is actually if you go by the Golden Dawn correspondences, it's Moon in Taurus, and my Moon is in Taurus. Um, ugh, ripen. Yeah, the words used too are just so good. And waves. Did I say waves are the water? Yeah. And the courts have like these ombre designs. Yeah, I know that. So I was saying that she does have plans for like a third deck. I think she said like this was she was planning a trilogy of decks. This was the first one. Then she had the Altaloon sensual oracle cards. That was the second one that had a similar like rainbow motif. And I am anxiously awaiting her third one, or anticipatingly awaiting the third one. Okay. So that is the Moon BB or Moon Baby Magic Tarot. Not to be confused with the Moon Baby Tarot that's like the hoi polloi. It's Moon BB Magic Oracle. I mean Tarot. Ah, okay, so the last one is the Herbal Tea, which is a deck that takes things down a notch and helps you unwind. Um, this is a newer one for me too, and um, but I love the softness of this deck, and I actually have it with her other Oracle deck. So hold on, I have to separate it. Okay, so this is the Rose Bay Tarot. It's gorgeous. It's a larger size, so in comparison to a traditional size tarot card, it's bigger. Oh, this deck is so gorgeous. So I I don't know how I didn't know much about Rose Bay Tarot until I found out about the Sistine Tarot earlier this summer, and I feel like I'd heard the name so many times, but I didn't um I was like, this deck was not in my life, and I don't know how it wasn't in my life. Um so this is the Rose Bay Tarot, and the back is this um gorgeous like book cover, and I edged mine in like this red color. Um Yeah, so each and I'll just say like at first I was like, oh my gosh, how is what's going to be the experience of reading with this deck because it's roses on every card. But there is something so I mean it's I just want to like walk into every single one of these collages. Um, you know, the creator of this deck is so sweet and kind and like so uplifting to different tarot community creators. Um, yeah, it's just she's amazing. This deck is amazing, and it's like this is definitely like um the deck that is like I want to be visually pleased as I do pulls with this one, I guess. Like there's just roses have such a significance to me on multiple levels, and um I feel like there's something very what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of a draw and a resonance that I don't completely understand on a quote unquote intellectual level, but it's something that I know I feel when I don't know. Um like the pull to this imagery is so strong, and this is an extra card. I can't say like I can't explain why it's so strong, but I know that it is. And it's almost like I feel like I almost feel like crying right now, and I don't know why. Like it's something about like the medicine of roses, the symbolism of roses for me. Um, so like my Nana, who I was really close with, um, I'm named after part of my name is named after her, but when my mom was pregnant with me, she would call me Rosie, like in my mom's belly. She'd be like, "How's Rosie doing today?" And um, "Oh, Rosie's kicking," and stuff like that. And so that's where my Rosie Cole reads came from. But um, yeah, so it just feels very I want to say like part of my identity, but it's not just that that's giving me this emotional feeling right now. It's just this like homecoming feeling. Um, yeah, so it's definitely an unwinding deck for sure. It's not like, because it's not even like, oh, I feel like crying in a like overwhelmed way. It's just that, um, yeah, it's like it's just comfort. I don't know, a safety, I guess. I don't know, but I love this deck so much, and I like that I was able to kind of find a red color that goes with, oops, sorry, a red color that goes with this. Um, yeah, so okay. That's my super long video for the Coffeehouse decks. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and this was really fun to go through. It'll be interesting to see like what were the ones that I chose before. I mean, I know that some of these I didn't have at the time, so that's an interesting thing too. So anyway, thanks for watching and hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.